Welcome to the School of Transformation Live for Jesus podcast. We hope you enjoyed this class from the full-time School of Transformation.
So today you can see what we're talking about. Here up on the screen, we are talking about hunger, humility, and desperation. And there's an amazing quote: to learn about hunger, sit with the starving. Lots of devastation around that, obviously, but it's got a lot of meaning with it too. But let me draw this circle. So if we imagine that this represents true intimacy with God, right? What we're invited into, this family, this kingdom that we're invited into, this true relationship, connection, love and intimacy with Him. Sometimes what can happen, or really a lot of the time, is that we end up with all of this stuff in the way, right? Fears and lies and insecurities and angers and shames and just all the stuff, behavioral stuff and belief stuff, right, can end up in there. And then when it comes to topics like this, actually being desperate for something, actually being thirsty for something, actually being hungry for something, actually having enough humility in order for us to be desperate for those things, because humility would recognize that there's a need for this, right? I don't have it all together on the outside of this circle. There's actually a need, and I need to live on the inside of this circle with Him, because He is the only way, the only truth, and the only life. Everything in the world and in the universe and in all of life only makes sense when it's all about Jesus and relationship with Jesus. Nothing else even means anything or makes any sense. This is where we're called to live. This is the best place to live, and this is where we're invited to live, right? But without hunger, humility, and desperation, we often end up staying on the outside. And again, it's all this stuff that's in the way. But when we're not even hungry, when we don't even care, when there's not even that desperate thirst and longing to be with Him, we actually get fairly complacent on the outside of the circle, correct? We're like, yeah, not only do we know or not know sometimes that we're on the outside of the circle, because it's familiar, we're used to living in that place, but we actually, it's almost like our conscience reduces and reduces and reduces, and we care less and less and less, because the more and more we get numbed and the more separate we get, the more we don't actually mind about being separate, and then the more separate we get. Anyone ever experienced that? You know? And we can even see it just in basic things that we've all done to numb ourselves, whether it's online shopping, TV shows, whatever, right? Just the ways that we numb ourselves, the way that we become distant from the Lord. And again, those things in and of themselves cannot be bad, but it's what we do with them, right? So the ways that we numb ourselves, as we get numbed, we become more distant. And as we get more distant, we become more numbed. And we move out and out and out and out and out from the circle. So this whole week now is about barriers to intimacy. So this whole week, you'll be looking at a whole bunch of stuff that really exists in that circle around the circle that stops us actually truly living in here. Well, one of the key factors, as I say, that we're going to want in terms of that journey from outside to inside is this. And if we don't have this right now, and if there's places that we're numbed and we're distant and maybe we care or we don't care about that, let's be asking the Lord for this. Now, we have to partner with Him in it. We have to choose. We have to take steps to meet Him in that place. But then the amazing thing is He can actually change us on the inside and help us to be willing, like we've said before, even in places that we're not, right? So even if we can only get to the place today of just a real conversation with the Lord of, actually, I'm realizing, Jesus, that I'm maybe not as hungry as I want to be. Maybe I'm not as desperate and as thirsty as I want to be. Maybe I'm not in a place of humility like I want to be, recognizing that I actually need you. I cannot do any of life without you. Even when I think I can, I can't. It's not the truth. But I'm recognizing that I don't have a lot of this maybe going on in my life right now, or not as much as I would like. Even if I've got great amounts of this, I don't have as much as I would like in my life. So would you help me, Lord? Would you change me? Would you help me to be willing? And would you do things on the inside of me and show me what to do and what to choose and how to stand to partner with you in this journey? Does that make sense? Okay, so to learn about hunger, sit with the starving. A bit of a sad, devastating, awkward question, but call out to me some of the characteristics that we find with people who are actually starving. So we may have experienced that at some point in our life. We may have only seen that and witnessed that with others. And of course, it's devastating. But we're talking about physical starvation here, but what it shows us about spiritual starvation. So call out to me some of the characteristics of a genuinely hungry, genuinely starving person.
Emaciation.
Okay, I can't spell that, but great.
When you're emaciated, you're like, you can see all your ribs and like
Skinny.
sunken in, skinny.
And sucked up.
If you saw it emaciated, you would know it's different than skinny.
Yeah.
Weakness.
It's basically a skeleton.
You only got to say that. We know what you're talking about.
Have you seen pictures of people?
Yeah.
You have where they're just, where they're skeletons, basically. That's what emaciated means.
That says emaciation.
I like that.
That's my style, right?
Physical weakness.
Dehydrate.
Dehydration. Yeah. Oh, you know the spelling, that's right. Dehydration. Nice. Malnourished. Yeah. Could be. Doesn't have to be, but could be. Yeah. Yeah.
Smell bad.
Yeah. Yeah, so that could be all, these could all be possible. Oh, so this is awesome, and these are the physical things. What do you think some of the attitude things would be about a starving person? Desperate. Yeah.
Depressed.
Could be. Yeah.
Angry.
Could be. Yeah. Though we also see the opposite, right? Hangry. Yeah.
Angry.
We also see the opposite sometimes. Yeah, for sure. Physical weakness up there.
Like alone.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you think they would respond if there was the opportunity to become more nourished?
They
Dwarfs themselves.
Right.
You'll
Right.
overcompensate.
Right. What do you think they might spend a lot of time thinking about?
Food.
Right. Right. So it might affect their thought life. They might actually become really, passionate about gaining the object of what they don't have, right? So I'll write passionate, but you know what I mean by that, It's what they don't have. And so we can only imagine, right, to some degree, but I wonder how much time and effort and energy they might spend trying to gain the thing that they don't have and that they need in order to survive, right? So all of these answers are awesome, and some of it will be physical, some of it will be spiritual, some of it will be mental, some of it will be emotional on every level. And it's tricky for us, right? Because we don't really, even if some people in this room have encountered some of this, and I'm really sorry if so, and if you have, you already know. But like in general, I don't really know what it's like to live in a place where I literally haven't had food for a very long time, So it's really difficult sometimes for my mind to fully understand, just in a literal sense, what desperation would really look like in this way. I've had other areas in my life, maybe you guys can just be thinking of these for you as well right now, but I've had some other areas in my life that I've literally been desperate. And I've been like, Lord, if you don't show up now, or if something doesn't happen or change, this is life and death to me, Emotionally, I've been in situations that are life and death, and I've just been absolutely desperate, where I've been stuck in things where I'm like, there's no way that I can get out of this, Jesus, without you. I'm desperate for you to show up, So I've known that kind of desperation, but I haven't known this physical starving kind of desperation. But just imagine what it would look like, and imagine we had a similar, in all the healthy ways, a similar desperation for Jesus and for relationship with him. Imagine having our thoughts completely consumed by that. Imagine that we didn't feel that we could function until we could get to our next meal. And our next meal was him. Imagine that. But so often, again, I'm just saying it one more time on purpose, so often, because of this, we've become numbed. on the outside of it. And honestly, I assume you guys have experienced this too, but I have, and I know that when I get numbed, I don't even really care that I'm numbed by that point because I'm numb. So my conscience has decreased, my choices have decreased, all that stuff is just changed in our brains, So, turn with me to John 6. We're not going to turn to it right now, but also in Mark 14 and some other Gospels, we have accounts of the Last Supper and Jesus talking about the bread representing his body. And then in John 6, we read the famous verses about Jesus calling himself the bread of life, which is 100% the truth. So if you've got your Bibles, just join with me at verse 25. Of chapter 6 of John. When they found him on the other side of the lake, they asked him, Rabbi, when did you get here? Jesus answered, I tell you the truth. You're looking for me not because you saw miraculous signs, but because you ate loaves and had your fill. Sad, hey? Number one. I'll go around this way. John 6. Number one, are we even looking for him? Right? Number two, why are we looking for him? They were looking for him because they'd had their fill on bread and they wanted some more bread and they hadn't yet seen the deeper reality that was going on. Verse 26, Jesus answered, I tell you the truth, you're looking for me not because you saw miraculous signs, but because you ate the loaves and had your fill. Do not work for food that spoils, but for food that endures to eternal life, which the Son of Man will give you. On him, God the Father has placed his seal of approval. Then they asked him, what must we do to do the works God requires? Jesus answered, the work of God is this, and this is pretty neat, to believe in the one he has sent. So they asked him, what miraculous sign then will you give that we may see it and believe you? What will you do? Our forefathers ate the manna in the desert, as it is written, he gave them bread from heaven to eat. Jesus said, I tell you the truth, it's not Moses who has given you the bread from heaven, but it is my Father who gives you the true bread from heaven. For the bread of God is he who comes down from heaven and gives life to the world. Sir, they said, from now on, give us this bread. They're still not getting it, right? Then Jesus declared, I am the bread of life. He who comes to me will never go hungry, and he who believes in me will never be thirsty. But as I told you, you have seen me, and still you do not believe. All that the Father gives me will come to me, and whoever comes to me I will never drive away. For I have come down from heaven, not to do my will, but to do the will of him who sent me. And this is the will of him who sent me, that I shall lose none of all that he has given me, but raise them up on the last day. For my Father's will is that everyone who looks to the Son and believes in him shall have eternal life, and I will raise him up at the last day. And then jump with me to verse 51. Jesus, I am the living bread that came down from heaven. If anyone eats of this bread, he will live forever. This bread is my flesh, which I will give for the life of the world. Verse 57. Just as the living Father sent me, and I live because of the Father, so the one who feeds on me will live because of me. This is the bread that came down from heaven. Your forefathers ate manna and died, but he who feeds on this bread will live forever. And he said this while teaching in Capernaum. Oh my gosh, this is huge, guys. So, do you mind doing the air? This is huge. He is the living bread. And he's inviting us into this relationship with him. It's not a concept. It's not just like, oh, I've got to try and live on the inside of this circle and stay here and then everything will be okay. No, he's inviting us into a relationship with the one who is the living bread. You want life? Go to the living bread. You want sustenance? Go to the living bread. You want to be fed? Go to the living bread. You want to have your full? Go to the living bread. What else do we turn to instead, though? Drugs. Shopping.
Drugs.
More drugs.
Like bookends.
Our phone, 100%. As Christian calls it, doom scrolling. We turn to our phone. Yeah. Sleeping. Yeah.
Well, you know what other one is? Like, for some reason, like anger, it just makes me feel so good.
Yeah.
But then I'm like so exhausted from it.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's just like a comfort.
Right.
You just run to it. It's
Right.
so weird.
So it is weird, and unfortunately I get it. And it's one of our controls, right? Yeah. So we turn to all these things that are controls, essentially, right? Whether it's TV, drugs, shopping, food, whatever it is, right? We turn to them to be in control, to feel power, because we feel out of control, because we feel powerless, we want to be in charge. When we're in control, who is not in control? Right? When we're in control, we're living right out here. And again, there probably isn't much hunger, humility, and desperation in operation, not in a real sense, right? And again, the Lord, the King of Kings, the God who made us and created us, is wooing us and calling us into and I'm emphasizing this on purpose, into a relationship with him. Don't have to answer this right now, but how do we feel about relationships? How do we feel about relationship in general? How do we feel about friendship? How do we feel about connection? How do we feel about being seen and known and loved? How do we feel about being vulnerable? Whatever your barometer on the inside is at some of those words, and your barometer might be like, warning bells, or it might be, those things sound okay, and that may or may not be true on the inside of us, right? Whatever your barometer is in response to those things gives us a little clue as to whether we do already live here or not, and whether we want to live here or not. Because that's the weird thing as well, right? Imagine we consider this to be a negative thing, like even just 1% negative, which I imagine all of us are in that group of, right? I know that I am in that group, that this feels at least 1% negative. I know it's not. I know that's not the truth, but in our unhealed places, right? So if this feels even 1% negative, then why am I going to even want the fullness? Why am I going to want to be hungry and desperate for something that I actually think is kind of scary and, whatever, right? And I'm staying on this first slide intentionally right now because I think it gets to the core of a lot of stuff for us. So if that hits home, that we don't even know if we want to even live here and transition here, why doesn't that become our prayer today? Jesus, I've got a certain belief and a certain view about this, and I would love for that to be changed. I would love to see this as you see this. I would love to know the truth. Would you forgive me for the lies, and would you help me to believe the truth? What's the truth, Jesus? What's the truth about living in this space with you? In fact, let's ask him right now. Everyone close your eyes. Let's take this moment. Jesus, would you come and speak to each one of us right now? What is the truth about living in relationship with you? What that would be like, what that would feel like, what the experience of that would be, what the truth of that would be? Would you come and whisper to each one of us what you want us to know about living in connection with you and what you're inviting us into? Just listen to what he whispers to you. You might see a picture, you might get a gut feeling, you might hear something. Let him speak to you. What's the truth, Jesus? Once you've heard something, just raise your hand as you stay in that place. Yeah. 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 Okay. Not everybody did, that's okay. But for those who heard something, would anyone be willing to share what you heard? I heard it would be the best thing ever. And when I hear that, I'm like, I want the best thing ever. Okay, I want the best thing ever. So then I've got to deal with the lies that I believe that say anything opposite of that, right? And I've got to choose, because it all starts in a choice. I've got to choose to believe his truth. Okay, well, Lord, anything that conflicts with what you just told me, I want to get rid of. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. And anyone who taught me that, I choose to forgive you again, and I choose to forgive myself. Would you forgive me, Lord, for what I've believed? I want to believe that this would be the best thing ever, right? Did you have your hand up, Linz? What did you hear?
I heard that it's the most miraculous and wonderful and most amazing thing you could ever have or want.
Love that. The most miraculous and amazing and wonderful thing could ever have or want. I love that. Love that. What did you hear?
I didn't hear anything. Can you just tell me the question again?
Yeah, what would be the truth about living in this space with him all the time? Shelley?
Freedom like you've never known. The word freedom has been big in my life.
Love
For a
that.
long time.
Love that.
But I also have things around my house like about a bird in a cage.
Right.
One has a cage door swinging open. He's showing
Right.
me that Shelley stepped to the cliff.
Right.
What if I fall? What if I look foolish? What if I made fun of?
Right.
Which I've had all that.
Right.
And
Right.
It's like, yeah, but what if you
Right.
fly? So,
Oh,
so-
that's good. Who wants freedom and to fly?
I'm a peacock.
I'm guessing there's a backstory with that. Okay. Teresa, what did you hear?
I just heard, just come to me for the truth, because I'm the truth. So.
Love that. Come to me for the truth because I'm the truth. We want to live truth and live in truth and know what truth is. Let's dive in here. We're not going to find it out here. We think we do. Let's dive in here and live here. Love that. Did I see another hand at the back? Okay.
Like
Craig.
fear and safety.
Lack of fear and safety. Who wants to be safe? Who wants fear kicked out their lives? Okay, good. People are eventually raising their hands. Okay, I'll respond. We want those things, right? This is the truth, guys. Everything else that we've experienced and gone through is valid. It happened. Many times it's devastating, and there's so much complete compassion for that. And the Lord has so much compassion for that. And he wants to heal us and save us and rescue us and set us free. So it's not nullifying any of that stuff. But it's saying this is where the truth resides, because this is where Jesus resides. And he's wooing us into relationship with him. And he's good and he's kind and he's not like anyone else we've ever met in our lives, even the best of the best. He's even better than that, right? So turn with me to Matthew 5. The Beatitudes. Hopefully you guys have heard a little bit of that phrase before, at least. Oh, cool. Nice. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to read these verses to us briefly, and then I'm going to get you guys, anyone who wants to read, no one has to, but if you want to read a verse, we're just going to go verse by verse at a time and just talk about some quick definitions for some of these words, and then I want you guys to actually grapple with and chat about together some of these separate questions, okay, afterwards. So Jesus, now when he saw the crowds, this is the beginning of chapter 5 in Matthew, he went up on the mountainside and sat down. His disciples came to him and he began to teach them, saying, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." Who wants the kingdom of heaven? Right? "Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God." Want to see God? "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called sons of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted." Oh, that one sounds so hard, but blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Jesus, help us, eh? "Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven, for in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you." Wow, blessed are. When we keep hearing blessed, 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 sometimes our brains can kind of tune out a little bit, right? Because it's just repetition. But to be blessed, to be made holy, consecrated, those who live with God in heaven, of or enjoying happiness, enjoying the bliss of heaven, a beautiful person bringing pleasure or contentment. Who wants those things? Yes. Okay, so we recognize that's a good thing, okay? So it's a good thing, and then there's a list of each of these things and what they will gain, what they will inherit, right? So who wants to read verse 3 for me? Someone just, Craig.
Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven.
Awesome. So I'm not going to write these things on the board and they're not coming up on the screen, but if you want to jot down any of these little definitions, I say feel free. But where it says the poor in spirit, or in some definitions, the poor in heart, those are the people who know that they are in need. And because they know that they're in need, they're contrite. There's a humility about that, right? So it might be physically, literally. Poor too, may not be, but either way, it's poor in spirit. That those people don't have a backup plan. They're not living, well, I'll try this, and if it doesn't work out, I'll try this over here. They're actually focused on this thing. They're desperate. They know that they have a need and where their need can be met. Who wants to read verse 4 for me? Oh, sorry. Those poor in spirit people, theirs is the kingdom of heaven. That's the outcome to that. That's a huge outcome to that, right? Okay, who wants to read verse 4? Shelley. Okay, and then we'll go to Teresa for verse 5.
Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted.
Thank you. So those who mourn, the broken, the outcasts, could be the homeless, the dying, the forgotten, but it's also those who mourn over sin. Those who mourn about what God mourns about. Am I devastated about what God is devastated about in my own life and in this world, about the sin in my life? Do I have his eternal perspective on those things? For they will be comforted. And then over to Teresa, verse 5.
Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth.
Awesome. So when we see the word meek, sometimes I almost used to think of it like a little mouse, right? You kind of think of yourself as going smaller, littler, but it's actually a really powerful thing. And it means that those people know that the point is not about them, it's about him. They desire him first. They desire him most. They make themselves lowly, recognizing that he is way higher, right? Which takes a whole bunch of humility, which, guys, is a super, super strong thing. Humility is not a weak thing on any level. Pride is when we think we got it all figured out. Humility is when we know we need to trust him and he's the only one who's got it figured out. And those people are going to inherit the earth. That's pretty awesome. We need to hear this. And then this next verse is very significant in what we're talking about today. Who wants to read verse 6? Anyone? Oh, she just did 5. Yeah. Should we go back to River?
I'll go, yeah.
Okay.
Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled.
Okay, what are those people hungering and thirsting for?
Righteousness.
Right.
Okay, which is what?
What is right in God's eyes?
Yeah, what is right in God's eyes? Right living, right things. So it's not that those who hunger and thirst just for a good time. It's not those who hunger and thirst for their next sports game. It's not those who hunger and thirst for, it's specifically about something. And who is righteousness? Because it's a person. He is, right? So those who hunger and thirst for him, who is righteous, who lives rightly, who now lives inside of us, who enables us to live rightly, those who hunger and thirst for that, they will be filled. Rhetorical question. Do you want that? And do you care to want that? Do we want what is right? You know that war on the inside of us where Paul says, I keep doing what I don't want to do. And it's like all those ways and times, and I don't know if you guys can relate or if this has just been some of my life pattern, right, and history, but that thing on the inside that's like, I really, really want this, but then not always our actions line up with it. And oh my goodness, why did I just do that again? Why did I just have that negative thought again? Why did I just criticize again? Why do I keep doing the thing I don't want to do? But I want him and I want all of that. But do you know what I mean? That war on the inside, right? So it's like, Lord, help us, right? Because I don't want that war on the inside. I want the thing that I want the most to be him. I want the place that I live in the most, in the center of that circle, to be with him. I want the absolute desire of my life and my heart and my thinking and my everything to be his righteousness, which is only found in him because he lives rightly and he teaches us how to live rightly. And again, Lord, where I'm not as passionate about that as I should be, where I don't run after that in desperation and hunger as much as I would want to all the time, help me. Put it back on my radar, tap me on the shoulder, give me the courage and the strength to believe those things. Help me to hear the truth. Help me to believe the truth because I want to go in that direction. right? Verse 7, who wants to read that for me? Anyone? Can we go to Shelley again? Yeah.
Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy.
Love it. I definitely want to and need to be shown mercy in my life, definitely. Right? So if I want to be shown mercy, I need to be a merciful person. How passionate am I about becoming a merciful person? And again, it's not a weak little meek thing. Again, false thinking in our brains, right? To be merciful is a whole bunch of love and compassion, which is a whole bunch of big stuff. But it's those who forgive much and know they are forgiven much will actually show a lot of mercy. Coming from a background of religious thinking for me, and I've gone in and out of this, I don't think it's been the whole time, but there's definitely been times where I haven't recognized the gravity of the sin in my life and the gravity of separation from God because of wrong religious thinking. And so then we don't recognize the gravity of it. We've got a little bit less gratitude for being saved and for being loved and for being forgiven. And when I have less gratitude for that, I'm going to have less forgiveness and gratitude and mercy for other people. It's a knock-on effect, right? It's like, Lord, show me the truth, reveal to me. Okay, we just got a couple more. Who wants to read verse 8? Thank you.
Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God.
Love it. The pure in heart.
That's
Wow.
not me.
Well, okay, but I hear you. For all of us, I hear you. But also then, it is and it isn't, right? Because it's like the truth is, we've been made holy and pure and whatever. The reality is everything within us is lining up with that and choosing to believe it, right? But I hear what you're saying, right? The more we see him who is pure, the purer we're made. Do we see him who is pure? Do we know him who is pure? And do we allow his purity to dwell in us, to become free from evil desires, to allow him to clean up what's on the inside? So think about shame for a minute. Just be aware of yourself, and I won't ask you to answer out loud, but how much with the stuff, the junk on the inside of all of us, how much do we try to cover it over in shame, even to kind of distract it from ourselves, let alone other people? Or how much do we open that up to the Lord and say, hey, I'm so sorry, Lord. There's junk on the inside of me, but I want you to see it and to clean it and to heal me and to help me, right? Who can read verse 9? We've got 2 more. Okay, I think he's volunteering you at the back there. Blessed are the peacemakers. What do they get?
They're called sons, so it isn't a son. Just kidding.
They will be called sons of God. I want to be a son of God. I want to be a daughter of God, right? Those who, it's all generic, those who choose peace instead of war, those who walk in an opposite spirit. Do you know how much division, even, and it's not even and even, I'm just going to use the word even gossip and slander and judgment and criticism bring?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yes, I do.
Right? So when we're not even talking about world wars here, we're talking about a war that happens amongst a relationship.
Right.
The seeds of criticism, the seeds of gossip and slander, they bring in division, not peace. Will we be people who bring peace? Do we try to pull down other people's reputations to make ourselves feel better? Or will we allow them to be promoted, even promoted above us and celebrated above us, bringing in peace? Ugh! Lord help us, right? But those people will be called sons of God. And then the last verse here, who wants to read verse 10?
I'll go, yeah.
River.
Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven.
Definitely want the kingdom of heaven. So those who have lived and died even for him, those who show kindness instead of hate, those who've suffered because of their loyalty to the kingdom, they're more bound to the kingdom than they are to their own lives. Am I willing to suffer for him? Am I willing to give everything for him? Am I willing to put him first and most? And that's kind of the theme of all of these things, right? And, in that central verse in the middle as well, those who hunger and thirst for righteousness will be filled. How hungry are we? How desperate are we? How humble are we to even want those things? Bringing it back to the original question. Do you know what? You can strive and strain to be that all you want. You can try squeezing hard enough to become that. You can try flogging yourself into submission to become that. You can try any of those things. If it's outside of relationship with him and if it's not for him and because of him and with him, number one, it won't work. Number two, it will mean nothing. It's not an existential concept, hunger and desperation. I'm repeating it on purpose. It's a relationship. Do you know that the more we know him, the more we would fall in love with him? And the more we fall in love with him, the more we would fall in love with him. Do we know that? It's a reality. I think we've seen glimmers of it, at least, in our own lives. Because he is the most beautiful, most contagious, most amazing, most wonderful thing, right? The person of Jesus Christ, who shows us who the Father is and who's left his very presence with us here on this earth. Do I care to know him? Am I getting to know him? Am I walking and talking with him? Am I looking more like him? And am I longing for more of that each day? And where I'm not, in the places in my life where I'm not, for all of us, Lord, forgive us. It's like, Lord, forgive me. The areas in my life that have become crusty, the places that don't care, the places that are filling a need with something else. Lord, would you forgive me? I don't want that. I repent. And I want to choose you again today. I want to choose hunger and desperation for you and your kingdom and your righteousness here on this earth. That I want to care about that more than I care about my own life. I want to care about me knowing you and other people on this earth knowing you more than I care about my own life. Will you help me, Jesus? Some challenging questions here. Some of them are quotes. Some of them have got some flowery language in them. Bypass all of that. But what I want you to do is just take a couple of minutes to read them for yourself. If you want to take a photo or jot them down, if it helps you, you can do any of that. But I want you to read them and consider them for yourself first. For a couple of minutes, get real. You and the Lord. And then in a few minutes, I'm going to put us into different groupings. And I want us just to share just summary, just overview of your, and it might be all together too. Just share your response to these questions. You might come back and say, actually, I was kind of shocked in a negative way at some of my responses, or maybe I was encouraged and shocked in a positive way at my responses to these, and anything you want to share with that. There's a lot of questions to read out here, but for the video, we've got questions like, are you actually needy and thirsty and hungry and desperate for Jesus? Feeling like you might die unless God shows up. Is that how we live? That question alone, we could stay on that for years, right? Do I actually walk around this room? Am I going to walk out of this door later today? Am I going to go into my departments, go into my family, go into my life, knowing that unless God shows up and I'm walking with him, the feeling of I could die without him, because I can't even have my next breath without him, right? This quote, we must become so close to his heartbeat that we can feel what others feel, living as if we are hidden in his heart. How much of that is a reality for you? Do we desire him more than our very life? If the Lord asked us to lay everything down for him, which, spoiler, he does, would we do it? Even to our very life. Do you know you've been forgiven much? How does this affect your ability to love? And then a final quote, we're sustained by beholding the beauty of his gaze and being confident in his cross. What does your heart feel and believe as you gaze at him? If you're really real, if you're really honest, where you're at today, as you look at the Lord, what are some of the beliefs that come up? Do you recognize fear in your heart? Do you recognize resistance? Do you recognize separation? And we can all have both, right? We can have areas where we're like, I love him. I want to be close to him all the time. And then we can have places within us that just somehow block and hold back and resist, right? I think we can all have both of those things. But just recognizing those with him. So I just read them out loud for you, but but just take a few minutes just personally to consider those with the Lord. If you want to jot anything down that he says to you, feel free.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Live for Jesus podcast. If you are interested in the School of Transformation or have any questions, please visit sotlife.org.